Hi everyone. This video is a different video than what I usually do, but I think it's gonna be fun, I hope. So you may or may not know this, but when I was 12 years old, I published a book through an independent publisher, and it's called The Secret Horse. It's a mess. It was a really fun accomplishment, and a long story too. So the publishers never actually paid me, nor did they it turns out that they actually publish anything that you send to them, but it's all good because they gave me this. Now obviously, because it was written by a 10-year-old, it has a lot of grammatical errors and such, but the funnest part of this book is the fact that it was written by a 10-year-old. So I'm not really going to talk about this book a lot because I'm going to be reading not the whole entire thing. I'm going to cut out some of like the boring, less important parts, but I'm also going to be providing commentary. So okay, let's get started. Celeste Orchard is perfectly content having only one horse. One day, however, she finds an injured Mustang who she names Secret, and she's determined to save it and train it. Secret is the wildest horse Celeste knows and is near impossible to train, yet Celeste remains optimistic. Along with her fun-loving cousin Jenny and famous rancher Nelson Ray, Celeste plans on saving the horse, and she'll have to go on a remarkable journey to do that. This is getting serious. Yeah, that's what the book's about. Let's start reading. The first chapter of the book is called Secret, which is appropriate. Yeah. Mother always said to treat horses with respect, but never let them be in charge of you. Father said to treat horses with a strong voice and always be the boss, but don't hurt them. I remembered both of their words as wise one, instruction for me to get my first horse. That's the first sentence. Yeah, okay. She just spends a long time talking about beds and how comfy her bed is. The beds in our last house, which was in England, were quite comfy, and once you laid down, you'd instantly fall into a deep sleep. Very useful information to this book. Since moving to Montana, all we've slept on is hay in our rather large and cozy cottage. Cozy, okay. And I'm quite happy to have it that way, for without it, I'd be sleeping on the wooden floor, which would surely scratch me. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is boring. When Aunt Clover came from England, however, and stomped in with her giant corset, she would always find something to complain about, such as the hay that crowded the outdoors. She would usually have to come in with her new sandals. Wait, oh, it's new sandals. I don't know why I put quotations around that. Okay. Which were clothed in mud. The mud would go all the way up to her knees, and I'd usually giggle at this sight. What a mess, she'd always say, confronting her sister / my mother immediately. I like the fact that I put this completely random sentence right here. As the country air swept up red dust, it also brought shivers to the people of the house. That's its own paragraph, so yeah. Okay, she's cutting to the point. She talks a little bit about the beds and the quilts and the clothes. I suppose I shall cut to the point. Living here in northern Montana is the best thing ever. The cottage? Is cottage a word? I guess like cottage cheese. I forgot that word existed. I guess it was something that only 10-year-old me knew how to use. The cottage is comfy, and I seldom cared how loud Aunt Clover was each time she stepped on a huge pile of mud. Sorry, Aunt Clover, we would say, laughing at her. I would laugh along with my siblings and enjoy the wonderful times we had. Why is she so mean to her aunt? Like, does her mom... Oh, okay. Of course, Mother scowled at all of us, all the children in the family. I remember needing a way to introduce like everyone in the family because apparently it was a big deal. And as a young writer, something I enjoyed doing was introducing everyone, and I started it with Mother scowled at all of us, all the children in the family. So here we go. Addison, or Addie, who was 15. Anthony, who was 13. Jenny, my cousin, who lived with us since she was a little baby. Then me. Celeste, 12 years old. Yeah. After me came Paul and Peter, the 6-year-old twin. Then there was John, who was 3. And finally came Amelia, the youngest girl, who was only 1 year old. So there was 8 of us, including me, 4 girls and 4 boys. Yeah, because I loved even numbers. We all lived happily together, yet my mother was considered to be very hectic, for she took care of 8 children. And though she had father to help her, she was still very hectic. Yeah. But as her only job, I'd expect her to laugh and love it, since we are all quite entertaining, especially John. Okay, none of this really makes sense, so I'm just gonna skip. So she continues by talking about all the animals she has, including her horse, Blessing. Let's just pretend that that horse back there is Blessing, so you guys can just all get a visual of who Blessing is. So she just finished talking about every single person in her family. So, a new day started quickly, and I hopped onto the wooden floor of my bedroom and ran outside with my with my usual outfit, and after grabbing a rope, slipped on my big brown boots. I like that part. Good morning, Blessing, I said, stroking Blessing's white mane. I hopped onto her warm, white back, and she trotted gracefully down a hill. As she began to canter, I held onto the reins tightly and felt the light breeze blowing in my face. It was always as if Blessing had said something to me, but I had forgotten what it was. Okay. I blissfully rode her down the mountain, humming a tune. I loved being away from all the household chores and just having fun riding Blessing. It was the best thing ever. This was just me as a 10-year-old trying to escape from my own chores through Celeste Orchard and her horse Blessing. I rode down to the blueberry bush I'd visited the day before. Sweet, plump blueberries served as a treat with supper. I hopped off Blessing to collect the blueberries and could smell the warm baked bread Mother was making a quarter of a mile away. It smelled delicious. I even thought that Blessing could smell it. I mean, I think that Blessing could. I mean, she's a horse. I don't know. Okay, I don't care. You look hungry, Blessing, I said, picking blueberries from the bush. Take a peppermint. I took a peppermint out of my pocket and gave it to Blessing. She licked my hand and took the peppermint candy and ate it up quick. She sure did love it. I'm sorry. Okay. As I collected more blueberries, I heard a whinny. Okay, that wasn't the right attitude. As I collected more blueberries, I heard a whinny. Now, not that a whinny is bad, but I hadn't a single clue who or what that whinny came from. I mean, just an idea. If it's a whinny, don't you think it's a horse, Celeste? It couldn't have been Blessing, for the whinny was distant. And the whinny sounded... How many times do I use this word? And the whinny sounded as if it had come from a frightened horse, or maybe an aggressive horse. Scared, I looked around to see what had happened. And then I saw it, a black horse darting out from some bushes. She galloped as fast as lightning and stopped right near me. Blessing whinnied. Blessing whinnied and ran to a nearby tree, fearful of the horse. I saw the black horse's eyes, but noticed a big cut on her back. It wasn't terrible, however, she was bleeding pretty badly, and I knew that if she wasn't helped immediately, she'd die. Okay, so This sentence is just, it wasn't terrible, but she was bleeding pretty badly, and I knew that if she wasn't helped immediately, she'd die. Okay, yeah, it wasn't terrible, but I calmed Blessing, gave her another peppermint, and tied her to a tree. After seizing my rope, I threw it over the black horse, who I found out was the mare, and noticed that the horses were whinnying so loud that surely even mother and father could hear them. Addie came running down, worried as ever. "Celeste, are you all right?" she asked, panting heavily. Then she spotted the black horse. "Celeste," she said, horrified by the sight, "what are you doing with this horse? You know that we can't have another horse. Plus, she looks wild." I like the fact that it's not even, like, Celeste isn't even taking the horse yet, but Addie already knows that she's going to want to keep this horse. Like, it's not even an established plot line yet, but Addie's like, you know that we can't have another horse. And Celeste is like, how are you reading my mind? "Celeste, get away from that horse." Addie grabbed Blessing's reins. I looked up at the black horse. "Addie, she's harmed. If I leave her, she'll die. And I couldn't live with myself if she did. Please keep a secret." You'd think, like, of all times where you'd want to keep a secret, maybe you shouldn't if it's a horse dying. Like, maybe you should tell your parents. I don't know. But it wouldn't be the secret horse without a secret. I pleaded Addie, almost crying. She nodded in agreement. "I wouldn't be able to live with myself either," she said, smiling. "But where would we keep her? She can't live at the ranch, and I can't think of a stable she could stay at." "I know," I said, "but we can build a stable for her. Plus, I saved a lot of money. And perhaps we can use that on building a stable for her." I told Addie my plan and then heard distant voices. "Addie, Celeste, it was my father." Oh no. Like, you know, maybe he could help them. But, you know, then again, we wouldn't have a book. Addie gasped. "Okay. Hide the horse quick," she told me, and I quickly slid behind the bushes and tied the black horse up to a tree. "Stay here, girl," I said, taking off my shawl. "Oh, okay." The cold air touched my shoulders as I tied the shawl around the horse's back, covering her cut. She was bleeding badly, yet I couldn't give up on her. I then heard father approaching Addie. I stayed behind the bushes, hoping father wouldn't peek or the black horse wouldn't whinny. "Addie, where's Celeste?" She, went to pick boysenberries across the field." "Are you okay? I heard whinnying, and I thought that I heard a few horses." "I'm fine, and there's only one horse, as you can see." "Okay then, well, come back when you girls are finished." When I heard the talking come to an end, I peeked out to see if father was gone, and I was correct. I went out and looked at Addie. "Addie, I covered her using my shawl. I just wonder, what will we name her?" Yeah, we have to think about a name right now. Addie smiled. "What do you think?" she asked. "I'm not real sure, but I was thinking, since we won't tell many people about her, what about secret?" Yep. The secret horse. So Addie agreed to name the horse Secret, even though, I mean, yeah. So, before they headed home, they went to their friend Magenta's house. Her mother was a veterinarian, and we thought that Secret would be safe at the house until we built a stable. So this is where the story kind of goes. I'm going to summarize it because it's a lot. I introduce a completely new family, and all the kids' names and all their ages and blah, blah, blah. But their mother, Mrs. Gardiner, who is friends with Miss Orchard, Celeste's mommy, says that she'll gladly take Secret and also keep Secret as a secret to her parents, which you'll learn later on is a horrible idea. But, you know, Mrs. Gardner is working with a 12-year-old to make sure that none of her plans get out to her parents, because that makes complete sense. So they come home, their parents are oblivious to everything, and then Celeste says. My mind then raced to Secret. What if they weren't feeding her? What if she was hurting? What if she missed us? What if she's lonely? I mean, she's about to die, Celeste, okay? Just relax. I calmed myself quickly, remembering that Mrs. Gardiner was a veterinarian. I put was, like, in italics. So, does that mean that she's not a veterinarian anymore? I don't know. So, it's now nighttime, and Celeste is in her room on her wonderful hay bed talking to Jenny. Jenny, could you keep a secret? I asked her. She got up and came to my bed. Of course I can, she whispered, coming closer and closer and closer to me. 3 closers. I looked up at her green, beady eyes. Well, you can't tell anyone. Only Addie and I know about it. Promise me you won't tell no one, not even Ma or Pa. Okay, that language. She nodded. I cleared my throat. Jenny moving closer and closer to me. 5 closers, we get it. She's close to you. Well, I whispered. When I was down picking blueberries in the fields, it was a beautiful day. Anyway, I heard a nearby whinny that wasn't blessing. I looked around, and then I saw it. A beautiful black horse darting out of the woods. She was badly injured. She needed to be saved, or else she would have died. I hesitated, still looking at Jenny. So you saved her, Jenny said, as though she knew the whole story. Yeah. Then there was a pause. Well, Jenny began, her eyes fixed on me. Go on. Yeah, right. So I saved her, but I can't keep her here, you know, mother and father. So I took her to the gardeners, and until I find a place for her to stay permanently, that's her home. I ended the story, Jenny looking out of the window. Her name, she said interestedly. What did you name her? I would have preferred Sweetie Pie or Blue Muffin. Secret, I said happily. We named her Secret. Jenny started looking out the window and said Secret. That's a good name. A very good name. Then, after our nighttime prayers, with the pitter-patter of rain on the roof, we fell asleep. So it is now the next day, and I just finished editing the video, and it's really long, and I only read the first chapter. So I'm going to do the next chapter and kind of make this a series. There's 15 chapters, so we'll see how that works out. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll be releasing a part 2 to this series. I hope you enjoyed The Secret Horse chapter 1, and I'll see you guys later. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the publishers, except by a reviewer who may quote brief passages in a review to be printed in a newspaper, magazine, or journal.